Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Dragon Age Inquisition. In our last video, we finished up in Hushed Whispers. We returned to the future, and, well, no doubt I'm going to spend today talking to everyone, and they're going to judge me for conscripting the mages. I don't think still don't think it's imprisoning them, because I'll go down to the prison cells to see if they're there, although I don't think all the mages will fit in the prison cells underneath the Chantry, which is on its own kind of weird that there is a prison inside a church. So yeah, that's something that I just realized. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. So yes, in today's video, I'm going to continue talking to all my companions, advisors, whatnot, and we'll see how long that takes. And if I finish before time is up, then we'll go do something else. But yesterday we talked to Josephine outside her office. Let's actually turn in.
If you find anything, please bring it in.
Let's see if Maeve has anything to say since I conscripted the mages.
Hello? Can I help you with something?
And nothing. Okay.
I'll speak with you later.
Travel safely.
Okay, let's talk to Josephine and see if she has anything else new to say besides her cutscene yesterday.
What may I do for you?
Do you have anything to report?
What do the people make of us?
Despite our fame, we're low on steadfast allies. We must aim for more.
Do we have any? Well, our allies? Do the mages count as allies if I conscripted them? Well, let's find out.
Any thoughts on the people here?
Who did you mean?
Oh, our mages. She'll talk about all them too? Great.
What's your impression of Solus?
I suppose I should be wary of an apostate, but our elven mage has conducted himself with the utmost propriety. And he has the most fascinating stories.
Okay, let's ask about Vivienne.
What do you think of Vivienne?
We've met a few times before at court. She remains a truly accomplished player of the game. So long as her interests align with yours, Madame Vivienne will be a most valuable ally.
And how about Dorian?
You must have an opinion of Dorian.
Who hasn't? The man could cause a scene standing quietly in the center of an empty room. Still, I do believe he has your best interests at heart, for all that he delights in mocking them from time to time.
He comes off as very sarcastic, so let's try our roguish friends.
I'd love to know how you and Sarah get along.
I know she extracts gossip from the servants, and she keeps prying into things. Sarah's ability to vanish whenever her mischief's discovered must come in handy, however, I'm sure.
All right, how about Varric?
I was thinking of Varric.
Oh, I could listen to his tales for hours. He actually let me read a chapter of his next book he's writing. My friends would be sick with envy if they knew. It's excellent, but a bit different from his past works. Only 3 beheadings so far.
Did I already do this? I feel like this sounds familiar, but maybe I'm getting the stuff with Sarah mixed up. So that's it on our roguish friends. Oh, now I can't go back. Oh, dang it.
It's excellent, but a bit different from his past works.
All right, yes.
Only 3 beheadings so far.
Yes. Let's talk about the Iron Bull.
The Iron Bull has had to have made an impression.
He is a loud, unapologetic accident merely waiting to happen. I do wish he'd stop daring poor dignitaries to outdrink him.
That's excellent, though. How about Cassandra?
I was thinking of Cassandra.
Seeker Pentagast is a princess of the Kingdom of Nevada, although that barely seems important to her. She was not interested when I asked if we might make use of her royal relations. Still, the Inquisition would not have formed without Cassandra. She's an extraordinarily driven woman.
Okay, I just realized she didn't have one for Leliana. Although we did talk about Leliana with her and her with Leliana already, so maybe that's why. What about Blackwall?
What do you think of Sir Blackwall?
Sir Blackwall seems as loyal to the purpose of the Inquisition as he is to the Wardens. His travels must have taken him strange places. I wish he'd speak more about them.
And we have Cullen.
Commander Cullen came to mind.
The commander is an intelligent, cautious man. I'm grateful he's in charge of our standing army. Still, he does sometimes resemble the man with a hammer to whom everything appears as a nail.
Again, this all sounds, not all of it, but some of it sounds familiar. I think maybe I'm just confusing it with Sarah. I can't possibly have done it, but if I did, oh well. Recap. Okay, let's talk to Mother Giselle.
Thank you for all that you are doing to help. I understand you were instrumental in garnering the assistance of the rebel mages. It is well done. And I pray this Inquisition fares better than the Chantry in its handling of magic.
That's the plan. We'll do our best to disagree with the Chantry. The Chantry did terribly. I mean, did it? I mean, it did in certain situations. It did. But let's find out if she disagrees with the Chantry.
You disapprove of something the Chantry did? Are you allowed to do that?
That largely depends upon one's company. While surrounded by those declared heretics already, I am safe enough. In some ways, Andraste had the simpler task. Magic should serve man, and not rule over him. That tells us what should be, but it does not tell us how to get there. So many times the methods of men have undone the spirit of their goals. Once you have sealed the breach, we shall see whether this Inquisition is truer to the Chantry or its own namesake.
Okay, I don't need to go how are the people, because I feel like that never
Farewell.
changes. But I'll
Make her go with you.
check in later with her. And let's go down to the prison cells to see if there's anyone down there. Like, didn't we arrest Alexius? So shouldn't he, in theory, be down... Oop, as I run into the light. In theory, shouldn't he be down here? Or the mages if they're all prisoners? No, nobody's down here. How about down here? There's no guards. Well, so much for being... like, the mage rebellion wouldn't fit in our jails anyway. And again, there's... never sunk in the first time. There's jail cells under a Chantry. I feel like that's probably just a thing that happens. Like, they arrest heretics and put them in the Chantry jail, but still, don't know if I like that or not. Anyway, let's talk to Madame Vivienne. Let's save first in case I muck it up.
So Fiona and her malcontents are finally under proper authority. That's an excellent beginning, my dear. We will have to discuss how to administrate this new acid. Cullen doesn't have enough Templars to handle incidents. Some of the rank and file need to be trained.
That's probably a good idea. Well, I'm pretty sure we can control the mages if we, you know... I don't know. I think they can be... I don't want to say... Controlled, again, is not the right word. I think we can teach the mages to control themselves. But I'm sure there are going to be some who can't. So let's get more Templars, but let's keep them hidden so they don't know. Because I feel like that might be better.
Train our people, but keep it a secret. Let the mages think they're not being watched.
I like the way you think, darling. I'll have a word with Cullen. We are reliant on his people, absolutely. There has never been a greater threat to mages than the breach. Until it is closed, no one is safe.
You really don't seem to trust your fellow mages at all.
You have a low opinion of your fellow mages.
It's not so much an opinion as grasping the obvious. Magic is dangerous, just as fire is dangerous. Anyone who forgets this truth gets burned.
The Chantry rhetoric, tal-vashoth had no Templars. Vashoth didn't they sew the mouths shut of mages and treat them like slaves? Tevinter doesn't think so. I agree with you. Templars aren't the solution. I don't like any of these because magic is dangerous and fire is dangerous. And if you do forget that, you're likely to get in trouble. But I feel like it's more complicated than that, but I don't like any of these other options really. So let's just go with that one.
You're preaching to the choir, Vivienne.
Tell me something. As you will no doubt have a hand in shaping it, what future do you see for mages?
Mages should be free. We need mages in the Chantry. We need the circles back. Maybe if there were mages in the Chantry, they could help administer the circles in a better way so that mages maybe they could change the way that the circles work so that mages feel less imprisoned and less oppressed. So that's an interesting idea.
Mages shouldn't be kept out of the Chantry. Who knows the dangers of magic better than a mage?
A curious idea. Such twists and turns your mind takes. It's something to consider, my dear.
So I feel like I'm making my own decisions based on me and how I think Theron would think, but I feel like Vivienne's manipulating me, even though she's a made-up character, because she seems to approve of everything I'm saying, which I feel like that kind of disturbs me. But I don't know how all this is going to play out, because, like I said in yesterday's video, I just don't think the mages could be 100% trusted.
Lovely. They should have this breach sealed soon enough.
I suppose their gold spends as well as anyone else's.
And a lot of them, I mean, obviously not like an overwhelming majority, but a lot of them were fine in the circle. So I'm repeating the same argument, but it'll be interesting to see how this decision kind of plays out, because I'm not sure how you, my lovely viewers, will react, but I'm also not sure how all my companions and advisors will react.
I hear the mages will now answer to the Inquisition. And when you no longer need them, will they be locked up and forgotten again? Most will treat their dogs with more kindness.
Mages will not be harmed, you don't approve. Yeah, the mages aren't going to be harmed. We're not going to lock them up and throw away the key.
I'll make sure they're protected.
That's what the Chantry used to say. It's a mercy. They are protected. Oh, how well they were protected.
Oh yeah, I watched you die for me.
In Redcliffe, you sacrificed yourself so that I could return here.
Of course I did. One small life in exchange for a second chance at history. I always loved a bargain.
I just care that it worked. Oh, that's so harsh. That life was a lot worse. It was still noble. It was still noble. I feel like Leliana dying, because I love my Lily, made me very angry at Alexius and mages, and I just reacted. Maybe that's why I made the decision I did. I don't know. Anyway, let's not psychoanalyze myself. It was still noble.
It was still a sacrifice, and still noble.
And I would do it again.
Okay, let's not.
Anything I should know?
Altegan has returned to Redcliffe Castle and resumed his duties as Lord. The people are returning, slowly but surely. They seem grateful to the Inquisition for the return of their village.
Anything I should know?
I've nothing to report at the moment.
I should go back to Redcliffe then
I'll
and
leave
see
you to
if
your
there's
work.
less... Because I felt like there were lots of mages just wandering about the place. And speaking of, there aren't any mages wandering around the place. It looks exactly the same. I mean, ish. Okay, so who else was up here? We had Sarah, and oh yeah, let's go talk to Dorian. That's gonna probably take a while, but let's do it anyway, because he's very funny. Aren't you cold, Dorian? I mean, I would think you would be.
Put a leash on the rebel mages, I see. Interesting how they seem to like the idea. As if it's a relief to be penned in again.
Life as a rebel is hard. It had to be done. You disagree? I do imagine being life as a rebel would be hard, especially for so many of them who didn't want to be one.
It can't have been easy, life on the run. Hunted all the time.
Better to be in the fold than out in the wilds. For a sheep, that is. It all depends on what you do with these mages later. No guarantee you'll throw them back into circles again, I suppose. I mean, unless you're as thick as you seem. Which would be sad, really.
Okay. I have investigations, but let's ask this thing. Have you seen Alexius? Because I can't find him.
Have you gone to see Alexius yet? He's in the cells.
Not yet, no. I saw him before they locked him up. He looked despondent, broken. Not the man I remember, nor the one I want to. I suppose the Inquisition will judge him eventually. I wonder if there's any chance they'll show him mercy. He hardly deserves it, but for Felix's sake. I can't help hoping there's something left of the man I once knew. So, I assume you're tal-vashoth or something like.
Why would you assume that?
If you weren't, you would have split my skull open at our first meeting before I said a word. Centuries of warfare with the Canary do lead to this state of affairs.
You've met Canary then.
You've encountered Canary before?
Canary raids are rather old hat for anyone from the Eastern Imperium. Although the attacks aren't quite the rampaging wars of ages past. Now we're like two angry dowagers who only remember to spit at each other when they pass on the street.
What about in person?
Did you meet any Canary personally?
None who weren't rushing towards me with a sword. I was too busy running in the other direction to say hello. I've met some tal-vashoth in my time, however. Mercenaries and a few merchants. They're not the same as Canary. Might easily be a different people altogether.
You got along. Glad someone knows that we're not that different. We're pretty different from the Coon Canary, I think. So, glad someone knows that, maybe? I forget what this is in reference to. So, I don't know.
If only other people knew that.
It's a southerner thing. Most of them don't even know what a canary looks like. Forgive their ignorance, O mighty one. They shall learn proper fear in time.
Tevinter, I considered killing you. We didn't. Tevinters aren't popular. I have no issue if you don't. Yeah, let's go with that one.
If you've no problem with me, I've no problem with you.
A philosophy I've learned to live by.
No issue with my being Inquisitor, then?
None that specifically involve you being so very, very large. No.
Good.
Again, when did I become the Inquisitor? I'm so confused. Well, anyway, let's ask him about himself.
It occurs to me that I barely know anything about you.
Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean?
Beyond that, yes.
And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed, which is obvious to anyone.
Obvious. Yes, of course, it's obvious to me.
I'm well aware of your finer qualities, believe me.
Of course I believe you. The moment I saw you, I thought, there's a man who knows quality. Now, what was I talking about? Ah, yes, me. I am the scion of House Pavus, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its hopes and dreams. Naturally, I despised it all. The lies, the scheming, the illusions of supremacy. That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it? Needless to say, my family was not happy with my choices.
Careful breeding.
What did you mean by generations of careful breeding?
The great families of Tevinter don't have children. They refine traits, weed out the undesirable, and promote the rest. My mother was chosen for my father because magic runs strongly in her blood. Never mind that they loathed each other.
Lovely.
They wanted a son who could become Archon to make House Pavus the envy of the Imperium. They got me. A cautionary tale that you should be careful what you wish for.
Is your family angry with you?
Why would your family be upset with your choices?
Because I rejected their idyllic plan. If they had their way, by now I'd be married to some unlucky girl from a powerful family. We'd live in luxurious despair, despising each other as I waited to take my father's place in the Magisterium. I declined the honor, and thus it's best I'm far from home. Less of an embarrassment that way, you see?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. You don't like Tevinter.
I'm getting the impression you don't care much for your homeland.
On the contrary, I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential. Sadly, we squander it. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Canary can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority.
But why do you care?
It just seems so much of what you say about the Imperium is entirely negative.
It might sound that way. For all our faults, my people have many virtues. We are laden with history and culture. Tevinter is where Thedas truly began, remember? We treasure our past and preserve it. You can walk down a side street and find nothing built during the modern ages. And despite appearances, we care. Deeply, about everything. We have no reserve, not in war and not in love. If I truly believed my homeland was beyond all hope, I wouldn't miss it so much.
I wish we could. It sounds like we're going to explore, I guess, more Ferelden and Orlais in this game. I'm assuming we're not going to go to Tevinter. I haven't seen anything on the maps or anything, but it'd be cool to go there in the future. So why not go back?
Why remain with the Inquisition? Why not go back to Tevinter?
I'm not exactly welcome back home. Not that it matters. I'm quite accustomed to being a pariah. It adds to my charm. I can do more for Tevinter here. If the Venatori succeed, it'll set my homeland back 1,000 years. I'm sure some Magisters would disagree, but that's why we kill them.
Fair enough.
I think I've heard enough.
That's too bad. I never tire of talking about myself.
Tell me about the Imperium.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Ah, yes. Everyone outside the Imperium always seems quite fascinated by it. Probably why they come up with so many ridiculous tales. Flying cows over Minrathous. That's madness. All right, that one's actually true, but the cows didn't have wings.
What?
I digress. Anything in particular you wanted to know?
Of course, I have lots of questions. Is blood magic common?
Just how often is blood magic used there?
Oh, not at all.
Really?
Not at all.
That's what any Magister would tell you.
Oh.
They'd be convincingly offended by the notion, too. Of course, what people call blood magic here and what we consider blood magic are two different things.
Well, what do you call it?
What's considered actual blood magic in Tevinter?
Blood magic isn't inherently dangerous. Using your own blood or that of a willing participant, what's the harm? The problem is that what's permitted only gets you so much power. And what if you need more? You always need more. That's where we get into sacrifices and demon summoning. None of that is done. Not officially. Behind closed doors, it's a different story. Real blood magic can give you an edge, a leg up against your opponents. It's safe to assume that any mage of rank does it. The rest are quietly shut out of power, to put it bluntly.
That sounds very dangerous. So, no Templar intervention. I'm guessing not.
You'd think the Templars would object.
I imagine they did, long ago. Once, their investigations might have been sincere. Then their balls were cut off. Too inconvenient. Nowadays, only the friendless are accused. Most of them probably innocent.
And no one disagrees.
There must be some mages who oppose this.
Of course. I do. And I'm not entirely alone. Occasionally, there'll be a Magister who makes noise. And then the reform talk begins. All very patriotic. Meanwhile, that Magister will be quietly shunned. Chances are, surprise, it's learned he was a Maleficar all along. Most learn to keep quiet. Me? I enjoy the allure of pariahhood.
Of course you do. What about slavery? Yeah.
Anyone who talks about the Imperium mentions slavery. It's the center of the slave trade.
Ah. That is true.
And did you have slaves?
Not personally, but my family does and treats them well. Honestly, I never thought much about it until I came south. Back home, it's how it is. Slaves are everywhere. You don't question it. I'm not even certain many slaves do.
You're saying they like it? It's not like that here? That's a terrible attitude. Well, it's not like that here. And I'm not sure, he didn't say that they like it. I'm not sure, well, his attitude does kind of seem blasé about it, but let's go with the second option.
Well, we don't have slaves in the South.
In the south, you have alienages, slums, both human and elven. The desperate have no way out. Back home, a poor man can sell himself. As a slave, he could have a position of respect, comfort, and could even support a family. Some slaves are treated poorly, it's true. But do you honestly think inescapable poverty is better?
I mean, no, treated poorly, at least they have a choice. Yeah, at least they do have a choice, maybe, but treated poorly. Gosh, I want to go over all of these, but let's go with at least they have a choice. Well, they don't really sometimes with poverty. Well, let's go with number 6. Treated poorly, question mark.
Is that what you call it? Treated poorly?
Abuse heaped upon those without power isn't limited to Tevinter, my friend.
No, it's
I
not.
don't know what it's like to be a slave, true. I never thought about it until I saw how different it was here. But I suspect you don't know either. Nor should you believe that every tale of Tevinter excess is the norm.
Fair enough. You don't seem like an evil overlord type unless you're a really good actor. So, do mages truly rule there?
It seems strange that an entire empire would be ruled by mages.
Strange? Why are you less qualified to rule than some tart with a fancy crown? Actually, the fiction in the Imperium is that mages don't rule. The Magisterium rules. That magisters are all mages is considered, convenient technicality.
Convenient technicality. The Magisterium.
What is the Magisterium, exactly?
The upper house of the Imperial Senate, and the only part worth having a seat on. Those seats are split among the circles of Magi, the Chantry, and the major families. All majors now. It's odd that outside the Imperium, you use Magister like it applies to every Tevinter mage.
Yeah, so what are you then?
If you're not a Magister, then what are you called? No special title?
I'm an Altus, which is almost as good as a Magister, depending on who you ask.
And an Altus is?
I've never heard of an Altus.
Upper class. Those families who trace descent from the Dreamers, the first prophets of the old gods. If you're a mage and you're not Altus, then you're later, lower class. If you're not a mage at all, you're Soperati. That's everyone else. We do love our fancy words.
Yeah. What about the Archon?
I thought the Archon ruled over the Imperium.
Well, yes. Technically, he can overrule laws passed by the Magisterium, but that never happens. Even so, he gets to appoint new Magisters, which means all the families vie madly for his favor. Thus, the Archon gets invited to all the parties. The truest path to Tevinter influence, let me tell you.
But mages do rule there.
If it's a fiction, that means mages do rule, then.
Yes and no. Let me put it this way. Mages do rule, but not all mages are equal. If you're not from the right family, chances are you don't rule anything. Maybe you're even a slave. The idea that anyone could be a mage, however, keeps the masses placated.
Is that true?
Can anyone be a mage?
Technically. The potential runs mostly in bloodlines, but it's been known to happen. More importantly, commoners believe it can. Tevinter legend is chock full of mage heroes from humble origins. So they hold out hope. Someday my son or my son's son will be a mage. Someday. Poor sods don't realize that means he'll be a quaestor at the arse end of the 100 Pillars, at best.
Is that bad?
Being a quaestor isn't a good thing?
I imagine the average non-mage likes to think so. Counting numbers and shuffling papers all day is better than many occupations after all. If you're a second-class citizen among a pack of piranha, however, your outlook changes.
Okay.
But let me ask you something else.
Of course.
Oh, and there's more. Well, let's try to get a little bit more done, and then we'll wrap things up for the day. The Imperium has a Chantry, question mark.
There's an Imperial Chantry, isn't there? With its own divine?
You people aren't supposed to talk about the Black Divine, are you? If you mention him outside the Imperium, people make that face, like you're urinating in public. But yes, we do have the Chantry, or a version of it. Night and day comparing it to yours.
Okay. Is it really that different? Well, yeah, isn't theirs run by men or something?
Is the Imperial Chantry so different from ours?
Not in theory. The main difference is in the whole magic is meant to serve man, not rule over him business. Back home, ruling the unwashed masses is serving them, for the good of the Imperium. Perhaps it started with good intentions, but these days it's academic. The circles are in command.
So you do have circles.
There are circles of magi in the Imperium?
We don't have dismal little mage prisons, if that's what you mean. They're academies, prestigious ones.
There you go.
We have Templars as well, but they don't cancel spells or whatever your Templars do. They're soldiers.
They don't use lyrium?
Ha! As if there'd be any left for them. They watch for abuse of magic, yes, but only those who are weak or who fall out of favor get dealt with. Mostly they enforce the Magisterium's edicts. The Chantry smiles and nods from the sidelines.
I do like the idea that, like, of course they have circles. They're academies where you go to study. Duh. Okay, the Black Divine, question mark.
Do you really call him the Black Divine?
We don't call him that, oh no. In the Imperium, he's the true divine. The woman sitting on the sunburst throne is some backwater pretender. It all stems from a disagreement over Andraste. Marvelous, isn't it?
Yeah, a disagreement?
Why would they disagree over Andraste?
It's not my field of expertise, but the Imperium believes Andraste was a mortal woman. A maid.
Really?
Down south, they say, no, she's the bride of the Maker, ascended to his side, divine provenance, a blah, blah, blah. We feel better believing Andraste was one of us. Makes executing her less damning, you see. So we elected a man as divine, the South declared war, and we've been feuding cousins ever since.
Apparently. Your divine is male. Yes, I do remember reading that in some Codex entry somewhere.
So the Imperial Divine is always a man?
All the better to distinguish him from that other one, yes. Don't think there aren't a number of female magisters who bristle at that. Why can't they be divine after all? Same reason you never see a man on the sunburst throne. Because that's how it's always been done. Excellent reasoning.
And are you religious?
Do you consider yourself Andrastian?
The big question. It might surprise you that I do consider myself Andrastian. I simply do not believe in the Chantry. It is a relic, whether back home or here in the south. Something from a bygone age desperately clinging to relevance. It's not an opinion that makes me popular.
No, but it's, it's something that I think even we can understand, being religious but not being a fan of organized religion. So, I agree with you, Chantry has its place. Others might object, yes. Well, others might object. I don't think Baron would.
I'm not surprised. It's not an opinion you should share.
You did ask, if you recall.
That's not where I was going with that.
I'll say this. I may not believe in the Chantry, but I believe in you.
Oh.
In me.
That the Maker sent you, whether through Andraste or fate. Cassandra is not wrong. You are what we needed most at the moment we needed it. That's what they will say in ages to come.
I'm surprised you think that. I agree. You're a fool. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I still feel like Theron's just kind of like, I don't know. This is all an accident, I think. I don't know if I'm chosen.
I'm not sure about that myself.
Doubt is good. I like doubt. It will keep you sane. Me? I've seen too much to believe I know everything. The world is bigger than I. Even bigger than you. It laughs at all the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to believe. But I do. The thought of no one at all watching out for us is too frightening.
Okay.
Let me ask you something else.
So many questions.
Right. Well, that is it
That's
for
all I wanted
today,
to know.
Dorian.
Fair enough.
Oh, that's enough?
I should go.
As you wish.
Well, we'll have to... Oh, wow, I have so many Codex entries of Magisterium, the Imperial Chantry, and Tevinter Society. Well, I'm going to read those, but not right now because we are actually over time for today. Tomorrow, I'm not sure if I want to keep talking to everyone or if I want to take a break and go somewhere and explore and do quests and kill bad guys. So I'll think about that and I'll let you know tomorrow. As always, thank you so very much for watching. Please do keep yourselves safe, and I will see you again tomorrow with another new Dragon Age Inquisition video.